What Damien Leone did with Terrifier 2 is nothing short of miraculous. This was an undeniable love letter from fans, true horror fans, that simply said, "We want this, we need more horror icons, and this is gonna be the one." So what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to channel. Welcome back to Miles of Horror, the only channel that's gonna make you scream. I'm your host, Madman Miles. If you guys could be so kind as to hit that like button, please subscribe to my channel. We're on the verge of 400 subscribers, so appreciate you guys hanging out. Show me the love. Next goal is 500 after that, right? So let's get to 400, then 500, then 600, and so on. So guys, Terrifier 2, I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I honestly think it's the most influential movie of the modern era. And I'm here to, pose that question, ask you guys if you agree, because it really is a fascinating story. And Art the Clown is a fascinating story. Now, I will say this. This comes on the heels of the Umbrella Terrifier set. I watched number 2 last night. It's the only one I've watched in this set so far. Now, not only that, but Terrifier 2 is actually my least favorite of the franchise, including All Hallows Eve. Now, is it the most influential horror movie of the modern era? I think so, and I'm going to tell you why. So let's take you back to 2016, because the original Terrifier came out in 2016. Okay, and you know, it was a successful movie, right? The original one was successful, but it was a very indie vibe. It was very underground. It still had that underground vibey feel. It is not. It was not the franchise it is today. Art the Clown was a very cool character to a lot of people. It was a awesome pure slasher. Art had a truly iconic performance. Fans enjoyed it. Art definitely had the fans happy. There was certainly a buzz for the movie. Okay, that's the original Terrifier back in 2016. But the film overall was kind of met harshly from critics, saying it had no real direction and narrative. It was just a blood-soaked slasher, and they weren't necessarily wrong, guys. The first one, while I love it, it was a pure slasher, but that's exactly what it needed to be to set up the second and the third. And it's funny. Like, I remember I met Damien Leone at a con. I think it was back in 2018, and I told this in a story on another video. Again, just the perfect example of this, right? Terrifier was out, and there was not a single person at his table. He was doing signings a Friday night at the con, and there was not a single person at his table. And I had a Terrifier post. I actually loved the first one. I was a big fan of it, and I knew he was going to be there. So I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I want to meet Damien Leone. And I went to his table, walked right up, and we were shooting the shit. He was sitting on his cell phone talking to his buddy, and not a single person at his table. And he actually signed my poster for free. Didn't charge me. He's like, dude, it's all good. Like, appreciate you supporting the film, all this stuff, yada yada. And so that's just an example of the first film, right? It was, people liked it. I think the fans really enjoyed it, but it wasn't met well with critics, and I think it was more of a fan success than anything else. Okay. So listen to this. This is what's so fascinating. Now, also, like, just so you guys can see the aesthetic of the Umbrella release, it is awesome. They did a bang up job here. But I rewatched the second one last night, and I enjoyed it a lot more the second time around. The flaws were still there for me, but this is the edition that I watched. That spot gloss slipcover, beautiful edition. So this is actually still available to you guys if you're interested in getting the set. It's still available on the Umbrella website. But Terrifier 2. Now listen to this. This is fascinating to me. Okay, the budget of the second film of Terrifier 2 was way higher. Okay, and it's super important to remember this. This was still an indie franchise. Like I said, there was no one at Damien Leone's table. This is an indie franchise still. Okay, and I apologize for my raspy voice. I was at a concert last night, screaming my lungs out for Coheed and Cambria. I was one on the fence last night with my buddy Matt. It was a total blast of show. Father of Make Believe comes out Friday. Can't wait. But Damien Leone started an Indiegogo for Terrifier 2. Like, think about that for a second. You know the major franchise that Terrifier is now. It is massive. It is probably the biggest franchise in the world today, as far as horror is concerned, over the past whatever amount of years. Okay, I'm willing to bet that it holds up as far as merchandise with any other horror franchise over the past, 3 to 5 years, whatever it is. Kids love it. Teens love it. It is this generation's slasher icon. Um, but Damien Leone started an Indiegogo campaign for Terrifier 2. It's not that long ago, guys, with a goal of $50,000. Okay. That's what we're talking here. An Indiegogo campaign. This wasn't a huge box office movie. This was an indie film. Okay. And the campaign actually surpassed its goal by 430% with a total donation of $250,000 for the fans, by the fans. We wanted it. The fans wanted this franchise. The fans wanted art, and they made it happen. Um, so the second one was met with pretty decent praise, which was cool. Most importantly, what this film did is it created something that the horror genre just hasn't done in many, many years. And this is why part of the reason why this movie is so influential, in my opinion. It brought back the iconic slasher character. Okay. Now, if I'm missing one, tell me, but this is the first horror icon we've had in a long time. Okay. Damien Leone not only appeased the critics with this second installment, but he gave the fans exactly what we wanted. It was Art the Clown, only bigger, better, and more unhinged. There was more of his garbage bag full of goodies and weapons and all that good stuff, more of his dry humor, his deviant mannerisms and smile. Think about this. Think about when you're franchising a character and making it unique and iconic. Art doesn't talk. How iconic is that? I mean, think about the uniqueness of a Michael Myers or a Jason or a Freddy or a Chucky, or a Leprechaun, a Warwick Davis, whatever it is. He doesn't even talk. And he's become this massive character. So think about that for a second, right? As iconic as he is, he doesn't even talk. He did all this without dialogue. More of the trademark sunglasses, and most importantly, what makes Art so unique and so different is the over-the-top gore, which Damien Leone saw he saw that's what we wanted, right? And he gave us what we wanted, and that's part of the reason why this movie catapulted the franchise into the stratosphere of awesomeness, and followed up with the third one, even more awesome. But it was the second one that really, like erupted this movie into the stratosphere of greatness. The first one was still an indie film and it was great, but the second one, again, like I said, I went to his table, there's no one there. It was the second one that really just exploded this franchise. And I remember I asked him because there was some buzz that maybe there was a sequel coming, and I asked him at the table, I said, "Hey man, what's going on with the sequel? Is it happening?" He goes, "It is happening. We're trying to figure it out." And I mean, like, think about how crazy is that. So anyway, the plot of the second one, Art the Clown comes roaring back following the Miles County massacre. There's this whole scene in a laundromat where Art is washing his clothes, his trademark clown suit, and of course, there's death and blood and destruction. And once again, we are on Halloween, but with a new final girl in Sienna. Okay, played by the lovely Lauren Lavera, who actually stars in the third one as well. And Elliot Fulham, who plays her brother Jonathan, I believe his name was. And they kind of are the the stars of the movie, but there's some great secondary characters. So the movie is loads of fun, right? The second one's great, but it introduces this whole new level of fiction that wasn't really present in the original one. There's this whole lore that begins with Sienna and her dad and several dream sequences, and this is actually what I disliked the most about the movie. The second one, it just didn't make much sense to me. I think they did a little too much on that, but I do think they did a better job in the third one, and probably the reason why I love the third one so much. The fiction was mostly kept to a minimum and was much more concise and explained. But the second one is absolutely the reason that Art is as popular as he is and why this franchise has exploded, because Damien Leone, he gave the fans what they wanted. He has once again created, or not once again, but he has returned the genre to what it rightfully was and has brought back the glory of the horror icon villains. Listen, if sound off in the comments if there are other icons. There was Sam, but Sam was still only a one movie star. I know that there's rumors of the second one happening, a Trick or Treat too, but are there any other like big horror icons of the last 20-25 years that I'm missing? You had Scream in 96. You had some minor things like, Mark Duplass and Creep was cool, or I guess Urban Legend around the same time, and Valentine. I know you did last summer, all those late 90s movies. But I don't know if there's another like new icon that really exploded like Art the Clown and Terrifier. So anywho, my point in all this is this, right? What Damien Leone did with Terrifier 2 is nothing short of miraculous. This was a perfect storm of the fans creating this and Damien Leone having the vision to put this into the fans' hands and knowing what we want. All right. It was an undeniable love letter from fans, true horror fans, that simply said, we want this and we need this. We need more horror icons. And Art is going to be the one, man. He is going to be our savior. And that is why this movie is so popular, because it is the return of the horror icon. And I'm here for it, guys. So sound off in the comments. Is Art the Clown as big and spectacular and famous as a Michael Myers or a Jason or a Freddy? Because I think he is, guys. I mean, we're knocking on the door of a fourth franchise right now, not including All Hallows Eve, so technically a fifth movie, including Art the Clown. That's big time. So I think he is what fans want, and I wouldn't be shocked if more and more we're seeing these. We're entering a golden age of horror with Art the Clown at the ringleader of this generation, and there's going to be some new horror icons in the near future. I think that's happening. So anyway, sound off in the comments, guys, if you agree with this. If you don't, I'm dying to hear your thoughts, and I appreciate you guys hanging out. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. Your boy Madman Miles out. Peace.